So let's start. And the people that will come later, we'll see maybe the video from the recording, but we will start now. So it's great having you here, Grant. I'm really happy. It's a great initiative that we've done together, and we created this meetup. I think it's very important for my community in Israel to hear about Gamma. I talk a lot about Gamma and show people how to use the platform, but I think that it's different when someone comes from the company, one of the founders, and you can tell the full story about the company, how was it really created, and why, and what's your mission, and how do you see the future. Like I told you and the people that are here, the session will be divided into 3 parts. This short introduction by me, but then you will give us the main talk and show us a presentation and let us understand deeper about Gamma. And then approximately 30 minutes, people will ask questions. They have a lot of questions, I think, and I also organized some of the questions that I got from all sorts of people that are here, or maybe will come later. And I think now the show is yours.
Great. Thank you so much. I'll walk through a few, I guess, intro material, but really, as I go through this, would love to keep it more, informal, conversational. If people have questions, please do pause me. I'll start with a little bit of just the history of the company and, how we all got started, and then share kind of the evolution of the product, the business, kind of our vision longer term. Just for a quick intro, my name is Grant. I'm the CEO and one of the co-founders of Gamma. We've been working on this product for a little bit over 3.5 years now. So I'll start sort of at the beginning and then walk through kind of how the product sort of evolved over time. And again, please do pause me if you have questions or comments or anything that you'd like to take a little bit longer to discuss, and we can make time for that. So in terms of just starting off with the general story, I started my career in finance and investment banking consulting, living in slide decks. And probably like many of us, we've started off our work with a screen that looks like this, a blank slide, a blank page. And while the vast majority of us are visual learners, very few of us are visual designers or have a design background. So when we're faced with a screen like this, we're forced to get into that sort of design mindset of how do I align boxes, move boxes around, resize them, design something, rather than focusing on the content and all the ideas in our head we want to be able to convey and share and present. And so we get stuck trying to, craft and design something and waste way too much time on that. And so our, vision was from the very beginning was, could we reimagine how people present and share ideas? Could we dramatically simplify the creation flow such that people can lean into what they're good at, which is, the ideation and maybe the strategic nature of the work rather than the formatting and aligning of boxes. So that's kind of how we got started. Our, kind of guiding light has always been around this idea of can we make content creation feel much more effortless? Can we, democratize visual design for the vast majority of us where that's not our background, and really simplify that? So in the beginning, and this is even pre-AI, a lot of it was just about thinking about the building blocks, the sort of primitives. I'll give you kind of a sneak peek into one of our early prototypes, which I actually haven't shown very many people, but I'll show this group in terms of where we started. But, again, kind of the inspiration is around, can we make it so that anybody can create beautiful content so that, instead of struggling with the design piece of it, we can really allow anybody to create well-designed content. We really believe that gives people an opportunity to have greater reach and greater impact with the work that they do in general. Another sort of kind of guiding principle is just this idea that, most design tools have been built for designers, people that can go pretty deep into the technical aspects of, designing something that looks nice. But again, if the vast majority of us aren't designers, can we give something that is almost designed for non-designers? give people like a much sort of flatter learning curve, much easier entry point into creating well-designed content. And that's sort of been, a guiding principle of ours. And then certainly as we've like layered on AI, this idea of like, how can AI really be your design partner? As if you had an expert, presentation designer sitting next to you or an expert researcher sitting next to you as you're iterating, going from rough draft to first draft to final draft. Can we, allow Gamma's AI to really be that partner for you? Human is absolutely in the loop. AI is just one of the tools of many that you can leverage within a platform like Gamma. But if AI can be there to assist you, then hopefully the entire experience can be not only more effortless, but maybe a little bit more delightful as well. And so we really want to make that sort of experience as fun as possible. And so like a really quick recap of our journey so far, I mentioned kind of we started at the end of 2020. So it's been, I guess, almost 4 years now. We launched our private beta in August of 2021. And this was really just kind of throwing up a landing page. Anybody could sign up, kind of learn a little bit more about, what we might have in mind in terms of introducing a new way to present ideas. We launched on Product Hunt in 2022. This was kind of our first public beta launch. So we kind of removed the wait list. Anybody can go in, start using the product. We ended up doing pretty well on Product Hunt, ended up being product of the day, week and month. And it was our first kind of chance to kind of acquire and attract users from a really broad set of, personas and really users around the world. And then last March is when we unveiled our first set of AI capabilities that was kind of deeply integrating AI into the entire creation flow within Gamma. And I'd say for us, that's really the sort of inflection point for Gamma's growth. It was really the sort of first time where we started seeing, just large amounts of organic signups and word of mouth. And we've been able to kind of build on that momentum ever since. We shortly after last summer ended up launching what we consider our GA or general availability, which is actually be able to put up monetization, charge for the product, and so far early traction has remained really strong. We're now had over 20 million signups over the past year alone, actually over 25 million now, and early monetization and growth has continued to be promising, and I think we're off to a good start. We're obviously in the grand scheme of things still just getting started, very early in our overall journey, but feel good about the sort of early traction, and hopefully it gives us a chance to continue building towards our longer term vision. So I'll sort of pause there. I know kind of went through the intro pretty fast here, but any questions on the sort of earliest part of the journey?
How many founders are you?
Yeah, so we are three founders. We actually met at a company called Optimizely, which I'm not sure if some of you might know, especially from the sort of marketing background of really trying to bring A/B testing and business experimentation to the world. So we worked together for over 5+ years at Optimizely, and then one day decided to rejoin forces and start Gamma.
Okay. Anyone? Was there a time from 2020 till now you thought?
Yes, maybe I would like to ask a question.
Yeah.
Is there something new these last few months that changed in Gamma?
In the most recent few months, I feel like, every month we're trying to ship a bunch of new things. So, for us, earlier this year, we started going from being a single product to a multi-product platform. So we started off with presentations really as our initial wedge because presentations are a ubiquitous format. Every one of us has had to create probably a slide deck, one shape or another at some point in our career, or probably continue to do so. And so we wanted to use as an entry point. Longer term, we really want to be this multi-product, multi-format platform so that you can use Gamma to create any piece of content. So earlier this year, we launched our first version of being a website builder. So you can essentially take any Gamma, turn it into a site, publish it to your own custom domain. So that's kind of like, one version of how you can essentially start getting much more leverage out of the content you're already creating. different ways of sharing it, different ways of distributing that content. And in the future, we think there'll be many more formats we'll support. So we're kind of on that journey. Like every probably quarter, we'll be releasing more formats going forward, or improving the support for existing formats. So hopefully we can be that sort of end-to-end, sort of system of record for people's content.
Amazing. Thank you very much.
Someone is asking, was there a time from 2020 till now you thought of giving up?
Yeah, it's a great question. I would say the thought of giving up never crossed our minds, but there were definitely times where the company felt like there was existential moments, if you will. The most notable one was actually so I mentioned kind of we did our AI launch March of 2023. This was at the same time when maybe some of you had followed kind of the Silicon Valley Bank SVB collapse happened, and the vast majority of our funds were with SVB. So 2 weeks before our launch was when the collapse happened, and we had questions around how are we even going to make payroll, or is this company going to be around to be able to, pay our team? And so obviously as a founder and as a CEO, there's a lot you're sort of scrambling. But we called a meeting right before this, and basically, the sort of conversation was around we are going to find a way no matter what. We're not going to let this stop us. If SVB collapses, all of our money that is there goes away. We're going to find a way. We didn't come this far to only get this far, has always been the sort of mantra. And so we basically, conveyed to the team, no matter what, happens on that side, we are still launching. We had set this launch date at the very beginning of the year. So 4 months basically prior to launch, that date had already been set. And we said, no matter what, we're still launching on this day. And fortunately for us, the SVB situation figured itself out. We still launched on that day, and the launch ended up going really well. So I would say that was probably the closest moment to when we didn't know how we were going to make it, but the company was really at risk of having to kind of course correct in a way that probably isn't ideal for any founder to have to think through.
Okay. There's another question. There's someone saying amazing. Kudos for that. How did you get to the 20 million users? What were some of the marketing tactics? Someone wants to steal your secret sauce. Go on.
Yeah, I would say there's probably a couple things we've leaned into, and some of this maybe isn't that I guess replicable depending on your business. But when you think about any sort of product or platform, think about how your product can grow organically. For us, we've been fortunate. We're in a category of product that if people like using Gamma, it's not going to be everybody, but the subset of users that like using Gamma, love using Gamma, if they're going to use the product, they're going to use the product to share and present to other people. So you might create a presentation, you share it with 10 people, you continue using the product, you share it with another 100 people. You really, really love the product, you've created 100 decks, now you share it with 1,000 people. Some subset of those 1,000 people will be interested in what you're using to create your content and go on to sign up for Gamma and start that flywheel again. And so as the product gets better, it gets used for more things, it gets shared more broadly, it reaches more potential prospects or new users. And we've really just been able to lean into that, thus far. Like we do, outside of that, a little bit of paid marketing, but mostly as a way to kind of experiment with positioning and sort of copy and sort of the language and the creatives we use. Less so kind of to depend on it because it ends up being a very small fraction of our new user growth. The vast majority of our signups come from word of mouth and usage of the product. And so, you'll often hear PLG, product-led growth. We're fortunate we really can lean into that. And there's aspects of that we're thinking through just to kind of strengthen the organic journey that, we're fortunate that a category of product like ours benefits from. And then I think on top of that, there's like all the obvious things that you can start doing early on, but feel very small and maybe not as impactful. These are things like trying to nurture the community you have. So rather than trying to create a community of users that, super broad and you let anybody be part of the community, you focus on like the very, very small subset of your power users that care deeply about your product.
Yeah,
And you
this
give
is
them
how
all...
we got to know each other because Grant asked me if I want to join the community because he saw that I'm using the product and talking about it. And I think this is part of the secret sauce, thinking about small communities, very deep connections, trying to listen and understand from real users what they are thinking, and then you get to create super influencers like me that want to talk all the time about the platform to my community, and then you get to be big like that and get to 20 million users.
Totally. And I can't say that obviously we by any means created this strategy. Actually, Ben Lang, I don't know if he's actually on here, but I spent time chatting with Ben, who is early community builder at Notion, and a lot of it has been inspired by other great companies like theirs that have done a fantastic job of nurturing early users and understanding their needs and building towards like this longer term vision of how can you make something great. And that absolutely always starts with the end user. So yeah, for anyone that's trying to build a community, I think you should be comfortable building something that feels maybe very small at the beginning. It could be a very small subset of users, but hopefully it's a small subset of users that are very passionate. And that will give you the sort of, can be the sort of guiding light for you, and also just be a great source of inspiration, energy, motivation, and then build from there. And so, yeah, that's been part of the secret sauce. We take a lot of those insights from our early users. We feed that into, obviously things like the roadmap, but also things like how we talk about the product, how we market and position it, all those things. And so you can only do that if you have a group of trusted early users that you can lean on.
Okay. No more questions for now. You can go on.
Great. So before I get into, I guess, more of the current demo, I'll share kind of the initial prototype. So again, this is back in November of 2020 when me and my two co-founders, we were just trying to come up with some of the initial concepts of what could Gamma be. And I'd say there's probably three core pillars that we were exploring. And a lot of this was premised based on where do we think the future of work was headed at this time? We think about PowerPoint and slides being well suited for an era where everything needed to be printed on a piece of paper, or maybe we're all staring at the same screen. So fixed aspect ratio, it's totally fine. Doesn't need to be basically you can interact with it by clicking on a clicker and moving to the next slide. When we thought about maybe where the future was headed, we thought about a world where what if you could create content that was mobile friendly or mobile responsive by default, so that no matter who you're sharing the content with, if they're on their phone, their tablet, ultra widescreen monitor, they can interact with it in a way that felt relevant to the screen size they're on. What if we could also create content that was multimedia rich? So it's not just text and images, but you can embed videos or even other apps directly into your presentation, so that you can showcase things in a way that isn't possible with static slides. And then what if we could also make it so that it was much more interactive, so that instead of just clicking on the clicker and doing next slide, please, what if we could have something where I could point to any part of the screen and actually bring that information to life in an interesting way. So I'll show you kind of the earliest prototype we have, which is this. And we kind of thought of it as a sort of hybrid doc deck medium. And you'll notice that as I scroll on this, there's different elements here that are interactive. So these are my two co-founders, James and John. If I were to click on my image, it would bring up our LinkedIn profiles, and you could scroll our LinkedIn and allow you to kind of interact with ways that again aren't maybe necessarily possible with a slide deck. You can even embed interactive prototypes, or in this case like a demo of what what Optimizely was, the product we were building in the past, and kind of be able to showcase to people, kind of do the showing rather than just telling of, who are we, what's our background, why might you be interested in giving us a closer look. And we turned this initial prototype into our pitch deck. So this was what we used to raise money at the end of 2020. This was our actual both pitch deck as well as prototype. And it kind of gives you a glimpse into some of the problems I mentioned we were trying to solve. The idea that it can be interactive, multimedia rich, all these things that maybe PowerPoint isn't well suited for. So we haven't, it hasn't been a one-to-one sort of translation of these early concepts into what Gamma is today, but it does have a lot of the ingredients, things that we thought were going to be interesting, some of which ended up not being as meaningful, others that we were able to lead much more into, all of which was like just early sort of way for us to kind of stress test some of our thinking. This is like an embedded Loom video. And so, yeah, this was ended up being sort of a fun thought experiment, but also a way to actually prototype some of the concepts we had. And so now I can then show you, I guess, what does Gamma, actually look like today, and we can demo some of that. But again, please pause me if you have questions. So today, when you go into
just before, I want to ask. Because you thought about it, and while you were thinking about it, there was ChatGPT and Claude and Midjourney and all sorts of things in the ecosystem, and some of them you didn't know that will come into our lives. So did some of those platforms change your trajectory and design thinking about what you are doing and about the product? Because today you are based on a lot of large language models. And I guess that some of them weren't even born when you started. So I want to know if some of it changed the way you are doing things today and the way you change the product.
Yeah, I would say, one of the biggest things I've realized as an early stage founder is the need to be adaptable. So you are constantly learning, a lot of what you were built towards are things that may be out of your control. So underlying technology shifts, obviously the advancements in AI. And so what can we do to position ourselves such that we could take advantage of some of those things, but also just still march towards our longer term vision and journey. So like, we started off with wanting to really change the way people present their ideas or information. That hasn't changed. So like, I think our North Star has fundamentally been the same. But what has changed is, just being super open-minded to, hey, our approach that worked maybe in year one, maybe we need to fundamentally change that because of, something that's changed in the market or underlying technology that is giving us an opportunity that didn't exist back then. And how do we, incorporate that or adapt? It's almost like trying to be, you're like riding a wave to a certain extent. And once you see, different waves form, like how can you move quickly and deliberately, but still moving forward towards your longer term vision. And I think that ultimately is kind of the name of the game for both early stage, but probably even later stage companies as well.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. So, one of the things as you go into Gamma, now there's different ways of getting started. So I mentioned of like trying to solve the sort of blank page problem. Gamma isn't intended to be the final draft. It's intended to be kind of your sort of catalyst for no matter where you are in the journey. If you're just getting started and you just need some ideas, maybe we can go from like general idea to first draft. Or general idea to an outline. So in this case, like if we wanted to create a presentation, I'll just use a fake example here, but let's say we want to do some market research on the skincare industry. If you don't know where to get started, we can help you kind of generate just an outline. These are some of the topics you might consider including in your presentation, and you can move these around. You can add different elements, and again, this is like, okay, we're thinking about for this particular topic, how can I just get going? Give me a first draft. Give me some concepts I may be able to riff on and flesh out further. We have a variety of different image models we choose from. I'll just choose one for purposes of getting started here. Then you can say, what is the sort of look and feel we're going for? And in many cases, you might have a brand or branding you want to incorporate. If you don't, then you can lean on one of Gamma's, themes to be able to get you to a decent starting point. So, maybe we'll just go with something like this, and hit generate. So once we hit generate, Gamma's going to take that initial initial outline and start crafting, this presentation that you can work with. And it's going to find images, or in this case, rather than search the web for images, we're actually generating AI images, and it's going to start fleshing this out. So I'll let it complete for a second here. And each step is trying to figure out what are different ways to visualize the content so that you might be able to convey it in an interesting way to your audience. It may not be the perfect way, but it might just be an interesting starting point again. So now we have basically this as a starting point, and you'll get some interesting images at times that you'll probably want to modify. But again, this is kind of giving you the starting point of what can this presentation look like. So you'll notice that immediately you get this sort of, a presentation where you don't need to create animations, you don't need to create transitions. It's actually already ready to go. This presentation is also something you can export or use across different platforms. So if I wanted to, I can actually go in and basically export this to, PDF, PowerPoint if you want to continue editing it, PNG if you want to share it on social media. You can even actually turn this into a website, publish it to a custom domain, or publish to a Gamma site. There's many ways to share this content, but it kind of comes pre-configured in a way that allows you to start doing some interesting things. And with AI, like obviously this is, you can continue riffing on this content. So let's just say you wanted to, like create a chart showing skincare product. You can ask Gamma to, help you continue to flesh out content. In this case, I actually didn't create the chart, but in theory, some of these instructions will allow you to create different elements that you can include into your presentation. The look and feel are things that you can continue to sort of update and change. A lot of the intent with Gamma is that you don't need to spend a lot of time reformatting things. So you'll see that I kind of really quickly change the look and feel here, but at the same time, I don't need to go back in and kind of reformat, resize things. Things automatically fit to my new format. All the colors are adopted. And the content, even in this case, using completely different fonts and typography in this case, still allows you to leverage the content in a really quick way. You can also leverage AI to essentially translate your Gamma. So you can take anything, if you're creating content for users around the world, you can really quickly, translate this entire presentation now into a completely different language. And so then you might be able to use this content and share it for different audiences just in a single click. And again, so we're really hoping that at every step of the creation flow, we're able to give people a ton of leverage, save them time, allow them to do things that wouldn't necessarily have been possible on their own in the past. And so that's really kind of baked into the entire creation experience. I'll sort
Can
of
you
pause
show
there.
again, please? Have you translated all of slides?
Oh, yeah. Yep. So if you go up into the top right here, you can edit. You can do things like fix grammar, improve writing, make longer, make shorter,
Yeah,
simplify
just
the
one
language.
point. It's only for pro users.
This
Yeah.
is currently only for Pro, but will likely be opening up to more users at the individual card level. Even if you're on the Plus plan, you can also translate a single card into different languages. To do
Yeah.
the entire presentation, it's currently only on the Pro plan.
It's really important for people to know that you can ask the bot to do something. Go there back to
At this one, yeah.
yeah, and you can tell it do something, and it can reflect all the slides that you create if you're a pro users.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, the intent is to make it, much easier for you to make these changes sort of holistically across the entire presentation. And again, not having to do a lot of manual effort. So these things, I think in the beginning, this idea that you can really just start simple, but at every step, your AI design partner can help you, take it to the next level. So if you ever wanted to add images, add more content, AI can be there to help you there.
Okay. you want to walk us through other things, maybe the websites?
Yeah, so websites is going to kind of feel or look something similar, but really it's about taking any content and then allowing you to publish it to your own custom domain. You can actually also purchase a domain directly in Gamma. I mentioned or I showed you kind of the early sort of creation flow, but you can also use Gamma to create your first draft of a website, or if you want to create documents. So those are things that are already possible. If you haven't had a chance yet, would love, for anybody here to, poke around, create something in Gamma. We're obviously, really eager to get people's feedback. So as you're going through it, if there's things that aren't quite working to your expectation, would love to hear that. And then, some of the things we're starting to tease and explore are ways to actually allow you to do, real-time content creation, or even be able to search the web and find sources. So if you're wanting to create a presentation on something that just happened, like the Summer Olympics, or even something that just happened today, you can use Gamma to include in your output different search results. And so this is still being tested internally. But for instance, if you want to do this and you want to search the news, we'll be able to pull in things like who won different events, provide the citations or sources to all that. So similar to what you saw earlier, but actually providing a lot of that reference material, such that when you do go in and create something, you'll be able to have all the citations needed to lean on.
Can you show us a demo of creating a website? Because people were asking about it a lot.
Yeah. So let's create a website. You want to...
I always say that it's a little bit early and there's a lot of work to create real website and to do the same that you did with the slides, but maybe people here will look and think that it's a good opportunity.
Yeah, should we start with a fun example, or is there a topic you'd like to create a website for?
Fun example is always good.
All right, web-based website promoting a dog cafe.
Okay.
Let's see what this gives. So again, you kind of get some of the building blocks for what you might want to include. We'll choose maybe a different model this time just to see what comes up, and then yeah, hit continue. We'll choose a theme. Let's see what feels appropriate for a dog cafe.
That one is good.
All right, let's see how crazy this gets.
So the workflow looks very similar to creating a presentation.
It is, yeah. So it'll have similar building blocks, but the sort of look and feel will be more website centric. So in this case, you can add things like your favicon or your logo. You can add links to other pages you're creating. You can add different CTAs for buttons. And so it allows you to kind of have similar ingredients so that the learning curve is not, doesn't feel like completely different, but allows you to have something that feels more maybe website centric.
Okay. And it looks like a mini site, more than a website, yeah? One pager, this is
Yeah, we actually have the capability to add more than just a page. This is kind of just your starting point. In the future, we'll probably have capabilities of baking out the entire website. So if you have your about page or blog pages or different product pages, you'll be able to do that. You can do that manually today. Right now, when we do the AI generation, you get the first sort of landing page, and then from there you kind of have to add. You can add pages with AI, or you can add blank pages, and allows you to flesh out the entire site from there.
Okay. Great.
I think the question is should this be the final draft or the first draft?
We should look at it as a concept. I don't think it's a concept. I think that we are getting a full deck presentation but every time I create a presentation on Gamma, I have to work on it and do fix things and add things and maybe change photos and so on. But it does a lot of the work. For me, it saves a lot of time. More than 70% of my presentation I do with Gamma, and it's amazing to work with this platform. You have to have a different mindset. It's not Microsoft. It's not the slides that you are used to. So this is very important to create a shift and think about it differently.
Yeah, definitely. I think that for us, the longer term journey will be about how do we shift people's mindset, because I absolutely agree. It's going into it, if you're expecting to be, moving things around like you would with slides, it's not going to feel like that, at least not today. And so how do you get in the right mindset, and how do you take, maybe like the sort of idea that first draft is it's not that you can't present it. In many cases, depending on the audience, if all you need is a sort of rough first draft, you might be presenting something informally to your team, and that's totally fine. If you're trying to create something that might be shared more broadly or is for a certain setting, then you're likely going to want to add or edit or continue refining the content. And Gamma just gives you 80% of it right immediately out of the gate. And then you can take a lot more time to refine the last 20%, such that when you are presenting it to a bigger audience or whatever setting, you feel like you were able to actually massage and really mold that output to what you want it to be.
Okay. More questions?
Not a question, but I wanted to share that it happened to me several times. I was introduced to Gamma through one of Zohar's sessions, and I became addicted. And it happens to me several times that we had some urgent need of presentation, and we took Gamma as is with the pictures, and also pitching for investors. And we feel very comfortable with it because sometimes the extra 20% mile doesn't worth your time. It's something that we have to remember. And another use that I do with Gamma, when I want to sharpen my ideas, I start with ChatGPT, and then I ask Gamma to do a presentation of what I figured out with ChatGPT, and then I see the gaps.
Yeah.
Which is a really good use.
Thank you for that, Galit. Or you wanted to ask something?
Yes, I want to ask something. First of all, I really like your tool. Okay, I use it and I teach how to work with it. When I want to create my customized theme, I saw that when I edit my logo, for example, okay, it's in the right corner. Mm-hmm. And I want to understand in free plan, we can to move it to another corner.
Got it. You're saying your own logo, your own company logo, or are you talking about
when you add your customized theme?
She's talking about the custom theme that you create for your own, and then they have your brand book and the logo and so on. Uh-huh. It's a little bit difficult to put the logo in the right place.
I see.
A lot of restrictions and so on. So I know many people are asking about it. If you can explain a little bit.
Yeah. So this is an area where we're investing more time and energy into right now. To your point, when you create, let's see, we can just go into one of these right now. When you go in, the logo positioning.
But Grant, before you're explaining about it, can't you solve it today by uploading your own theme and then you don't have to do that?
Well, it depends on, because right now we don't give you absolute positioning for your logo. So that's something we're considering, and maybe actually as a follow-up, as our designers are doing more research in this area, maybe I could follow up and set up a quick call here. But yeah, right now we kind of limit your ability because we want to make it so that as a user, you don't need to do too much thinking. If you upload your logo, we're going to try our best to place it nicely on the card. And if it doesn't, then obviously, we're really trying to prevent people from trying to basically create something that all of a sudden doesn't maybe look nice or isn't as presentable, but sometimes it doesn't give you as much control as an end user as you may like. So yeah, maybe I can, as a follow-up, just spend some more time digging into this with you.
Okay. Someone is asking, what are your plans for Hebrew support? It is minimal currently.
Yeah, to be candid, I think one of the big areas we think where there's just a lot of opportunity in general is just better localization and international support. We're obviously today a small team based in San Francisco, and we now have a global footprint. And one of the main sort of objectives as we scale is to ensure that we have better support. So it's something we're looking into, obviously, just in general, in terms of bigger, longer term strategies, having international global support, localization. Right now, I think we're doing the bare minimum, to your point, to the comment here, and we want to do more. I think it's going to be on the roadmap mostly for likely going to be more like early next year. And we're trying to finish up some other ongoing sort of roadmap initiatives for the rest of 2024. But hopefully it's something we can make a lot of progress in the early part of next year.
Also the problem of right to left.
Yeah.
Because in Hebrew it's a real problem, but you have also Arabic, so you have a huge audience with the Arabic.
Totally. We're getting more and more feedback about that, so yeah, definitely can empathize that it's pretty frustrating right now, but hopefully we can
solve that online. But when you're downloading, no matter if it's a PDF or a PowerPoint, everything goes back left to right, so it's a problem. I don't think it's a huge problem because for me it saves so much time just putting the slides right to left. It's not a lot of work considering the full process that I'm using Gamma, but I know people are asking about it a lot. So this is something to think about. Not because of us, because of 2 billion people writing in Arabic, and it's also right to left. So you have a huge audience there.
Absolutely, yeah. Some of the other features that we've been rolling out that I didn't get a chance to mention is we are starting to do much more with basically vision. So being able to upload or import an existing PowerPoint deck so that we can learn the style, the visuals, so colors, fonts, so you can create a theme that maybe matches your brand. These are things that we're starting to test out more. So if people do get a chance to test it or try it, and again, either it's missing expectations or you feel like it's doing a good job, that feedback's always great for us. That vision sort of will also allow us to, in the future, whatever content you have on the slide, like an existing slide deck, we can start pulling that information in. So we're starting with basic things like obviously images and text. In the future, there will be other ways to learn from the patterns or visuals. And we'll hopefully have a much more powerful import so that no matter what your starting point is, we can take that and help you remix that content and help you kind of, move it forward in interesting ways.
There was a very interesting question came from the community about the video creation. I know it's early stage all around the generative AI ecosystem anyway, because Sora didn't come out just yet. But like images, do you have plans to implement also video creation? I think you have this on Canva, so maybe the question came from there.
Yes, definitely. The video is on the roadmap. We're already starting to test some things internally. I think there's a lot of different ways we could support video in the future that we plan to. So even taking an existing presentation, turning that into an MP4 or a video with, animations, transitions, that's one use case. Being able to narrate your presentation. So, have a presentation and you give the voiceover, or, be able to present it async to people is going to be one use case. Turning a presentation into something that AI presents for you, so that you can use your voice, but have AI do the voiceover is something we're actively exploring. And then being able to create AI generated videos and use that as supporting visuals, or, engaging content similar to how you use images today is also an area. So all of those are areas we're actively exploring. Some of them will probably be rolled out sooner than the others, but yeah, I think as part of our multi-product journey, you'll be able to get a lot of that in the future.
But also generating video inside the slides, like you generate images.
Yeah,
this is
yeah,
part
that's
of that. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That's part of the
Because
plan.
this is very interesting. It's like, when we're implementing GIFs and you have this motion and people like it, and it creates a better presentation and a better attention to the presentation.
Yes, definitely. Agree
One
with that.
other question was, I don't know why, and I think the person that asked the question is not here, but it was asking, is there a plan for an API? Are you planning to create your own API that you can share with others? Although I know you are based on APIs, and maybe you can give us a little bit information about the APIs that you are based on.
Yeah, well, to answer the first part of the question, yes, we will offer our own API in the future, so that this is actually one of the growing requests is like, I want to automate content creation using Gamma. Can we use Gamma so that we can just produce a bunch of presentations and automate the entire creation flow? And the answer is yes, you will build it in the future. We don't have a defined timeline yet, but we do have basically early design partners who we hope to be able to work with to work on this.
Okay.
The latter question around, which AI APIs platforms are we using? The answer is we're constantly experimenting. So on the tech side, all of the major providers there, we have probably tried at some point, and we're constantly testing to see what we think provides the best output to our end users. And likely over time, we'll also start incorporating many of the open models as well. And so I think it's always going to be a combination, and it will likely be a combination that has different parts of the creation flow or different parts of the product experience that touches different models. So some models may be better suited for certain tasks, other models for other tasks. So that applies both for on the tech side as well as on the image side. Today, we already offer many of the best models out there, and we'll continue to refine a lot of that as well. So we can take advantage of kind of the latest and greatest, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon.
Someone is asking about legal rights, and if you can elaborate on that subject and the use of Gamma concerning legal rights. Because, for example, I don't know if everyone knows here, you can embed Gamma on your own website or mini site or inside the post blog. I do it sometimes. And this is a very good question. It comes from someone who works in a bank, so they are always worried about the legal side. And this is very important for a big corporation. What you can elaborate about it?
Totally. I think there's different, I guess, components of that question. So one is, I think broadly, use of AI content in itself, everyone's still trying to figure out where everyone stands on that. So I can't predict, a year or 2 years from now, what is going to be acceptable use of AI generated content. We can only follow what is kind of being leveraged today. And so, I think it is ultimately going to be up to the end user to figure out what seems appropriate for their industry. We can't have any sort of, blanket statement saying it's always going to be okay, because frankly, it's moving pretty fast. And so it's up to the end user to figure out that sort of risks there. Similarly, when we generate content, we can't guarantee that it's copyright safe, because again, you as an end user might be putting in content, you might be entering, uploading images that you don't have rights to. We can't control how that ends up being shared. Sometimes content is being used completely internally just for yourself or your team. And that's obviously a very different set of requirements than if you were to use this as marketing materials to go out and share with the world and say, this material is ours. And so again, a lot of it is going to be use case dependent. We aren't in our journey as a company, we're still very much focused on sort of this prosumer use case. So self-serve product, online, privacy terms. In the future, obviously, if we work with much larger enterprise B2B instances, there'll be a whole set of other compliance requirements on our end that we'll have to go through, which will change how we probably need to position some of our products and offerings. But we're not quite there yet. So we end up putting most of the onus on the end user to figure out when they're creating content, what's acceptable to be used publicly and what's maybe more intended to be used internally.
Yeah, I think that's a very big question, and no one has a really good answer because it's still we are still writing the code about this question.
Totally.
It's very difficult. I think there are two main I think groups that are gaining a lot from the generative AI wave. It's one of them is NVIDIA, and the other one is lawyers and the way that they can now go after companies and take them and sue them for copyright and so on. So this is our world now.
Yeah.
But yes, it's a very important question because when you are using, for example, images, you have to think about it because you are generating images with tools like DALL-E or Stable Diffusion and so on, and no one is telling you that you have the copyright to use those images outside of your company. So this is something very important to think about.
It's not just images, it's the context too. What about copyrights, okay, of the context that I created with Gamma?
Yeah. So this is very vague. It's more complicated to say that the content was mine. With images, it's I think maybe easier, maybe not, but we should think about it because there's a lot of lawsuits and it's a complicated world.
But also, Zohar and Grant, hi. The question is about the content that I'm creating. Like, assuming I have like a very good idea for something, and then I'm creating my own presentation for it in Gamma. Does somebody else has the access for it? I don't remember, Zohar, if you talked about it in your workshop. Like, it's mine, totally mine. Everything I upload.
Even the Gamma people don't have access to your account. When I'm talking about the presentation of mine and I want them to look behind the scenes and ask questions, they are asking me for the link because they can't go to my account. So it's like working on all the platforms that are end-to-end encrypted, and no one has access to your content. And Grant, if you have anything to add, so you can say, but this is what I know about it.
Yeah, we take privacy very seriously. Nobody else can access your content unless you share it with them explicitly. It's contained in your workspace. We don't use your content to train any models. It's all 100% within your workspace and contained there, unless you choose to share that with somebody externally.
Okay. Other questions?
Yes, I would like to see how do you use your fonts and colors if you have a brand color kit? Is there a way to customize it?
Yeah, this is a really important question, Grant. I think many people are talking about it also in the community on Slack, and especially here, I know that people that are talking to me about Gamma all the time, it's something that people are asking and wanting to understand if there's a way to bring your own brand rules and brand look and feel to Gamma.
Yeah. Yeah, there definitely is. We're doing more and more to support this. The newest way to try this is if you have, your
מלך,
oh, sorry,
מה נשמע, ממי?
someone is talking and we have to mute him.
Unmute.
You can actually import from an existing PowerPoint. So if that PowerPoint has the fonts and colors, your brand guidelines, you can use that as a starting point. So either drag it in, or if it's in a Google Drive, you can do that. You can also try to build a theme from scratch. So this is where if you wanted to customize, you can choose all your colors.
Oh, great.
Accent colors, yeah. So that allows you to do that as well. And so then you can even upload your own fonts if you want to. We give you a bunch of nice, beautiful defaults, but obviously if you have specific fonts, typography, and then you can kind of control the look and feel here. So we only released this not that long ago, so many haven't yet discovered, but the ability to actually make the sort of theme, essentially build your own theme, but leverage your brand is now possible.
Amazing. Thank you very much.
Yeah, just one thing about that option. I try to do that. It's not really for regular people. If you want to build your own theme, you have to give it to a designer. You build it once and you build it like it should be and invest on it. But it's not as easy as creating a presentation on Gamma. You should know that, to be honest.
That's very helpful feedback. Yeah.
Yeah.
But definitely feel free to share, feel free to share my contact information after this. If people need help, I'm still very much would love to spend time with, even if it's individual users, getting them set up. So yeah, people can reach out to me anytime. And if I can't help specifically, I'll at least do my best to help answer the questions.
Great. Someone was asking, are you planning to visit Israel? I think it's a joke. I'm not sure, but still,
I would actually love to at some point. I've been invited a couple times recently, and I haven't been able to. I don't know if you all know Ruben. He's pretty active on LinkedIn.
Ruben Chesed, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
We know him. We see him on LinkedIn. Yeah.
Yeah, he invited me to do some I think is also like a founder webinar event, and then Ben has mentioned, I think, in the past. So I would love to in the future. I haven't done any international travel this year just yet, but hopefully next year I can plan for it.
Yeah, you also have an investor from Israel, you told me.
Oh well, Ben is an angel. We have many investors. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. More questions?
I have a few more questions, if it's okay, Zara. First, I wanted to ask about the interactive presentation, Grant, because something I'm really missing is that when I present a presentation with a lot of different products, and the customer is saying, I'm interested in this, and I'm interested in this, so that I will have a sort of a recap tool that I can press on something in the presentation, and then it will give me a report of what was going on in the discussion, if it's something you have or you are planning to have.
Oh, I see. So being able to maybe ask questions or poll the audience.
Yes.
Got it. Yeah.
If you open the menu, which is a good example for that, and assuming that I want to have this, and from the other slide I want to have this, it's different components that I'm sharing with the person I'm showing the presentation to, and then I have to write down, okay, he was interested in that, and
you have notes on your presentation that you can write inside the presentation a note.
Yeah. One option is to write it as a note. So in the top right here of any card, you can just say, something to do after.
Yeah, so I can use the notes. That's true.
Yeah.
Even though, when I write a note, then the customer sees that. No.
That's true. Well, if you're sharing view only, they won't be able to ever see the note. But yeah, I guess if you're presenting it and you're writing it, then someone will be able to see it. Yeah. We don't yet have an ability to add other layers of content just yet, of information just yet.
Okay.
But you should know that when I'm presenting online, I go on Gamma, and then if I have something to add, I go inside the slide and write notes inside the slide so I can remember things that I have to do later. It's like a working tool that I can use. I don't know if that's what you meant, but you can do that also. Because you can present the presentation from Gamma.
Yeah.
And then you can use it as a tool for editing, adding things, adding notes, adding inside the slides.
Okay.
Yeah, you could also basically, you could have two versions of the presentation up at the same time. One that you're presenting from, and then the other you're taking notes from, and the notes will still be synced automatically if that's available to you. So you have two separate screens or two separate windows, one that the client is looking at, one where you're taking notes. You can have the presentation open in two instances if that's needed.
Okay, that's interesting. And
there's also other ways that where maybe taking notes also feels like maybe it isn't as maybe you're also sometimes taking notes or adding content for the viewer. So I don't know if you've had a chance to try things like creating footnotes, but you can always add like footnotes as a way of adding more notes during a live meeting.
Okay, I was more thinking about like a checkbox that I can check if the customer is interested in, but this requires like an interactive form behind the presentation. So,
got it. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And can I ask another question, please?
Go on.
Okay. About the different formats that you showed before, Grant, because I have a regular presentation, like let's say a widescreen one, and I used to print it. And then when I print it, it's better to convey that to an A4. Which is like a different format, and I'm spending a lot of time all the time to do the formatting. So you were talking about different formatting in like a click, but I couldn't find how to do it, and I don't know if it's like totally different format.
Yeah, we're working on improving this area today. Right now, if you go to the top right and hit page setup, you can change the basic shape of the content, but it's still not, I'd say, perfect or great. I think it's you maybe 70% of the way there, but there's still a lot of kind of massaging that's needed to be done. We're about to probably in the next 3 weeks, 2-3 weeks, kind of change this flow. I'll show you what it looks like currently, but basically if you were to go into page setup, you could change to like A4, you could change to portrait, you could change maybe content alignment. And you'll see that you kind of have like a starting point here in terms of what the content might look like. This isn't, again, perfect, but it gets you kind of to a better starting point. And this is where we're going to be making some pretty big improvements in the next few weeks.
But also you can change the theme. So sometimes maybe the theme that you choose wasn't the right one, and you can change the theme and it changes everything. Either
the theme will change kind of the theme will definitely change the look and feel and the fonts, but it won't necessarily change so in page setup here, the card size, the aspect ratio.
You gave me the exact answer. Thank you.
Great.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, hi. I love your product, and I introduced it in all my lectures. And 2 days ago, I wanted to demonstrate how it works. And I tried to make a presentation about a band, a famous band that's called Kavere. And it's not something complicated. It's a real band in Israel. And he made up singers that were never in the band, and he gave like a false fact. And I was really surprised because it's not something complicated. So I didn't want them to be disappointed. And I went fast to Perplexity. I got the right facts, and then I copy and pasted to the presentation and showed them again. But how can we be sure? Is there like a check feature something that I don't need to do what I did, and inside make him check himself?
Yeah, it's a great question. This is an area we're about to roll out some new capabilities here. So to have more sort of factual or ensure more factual accuracy and also be able to source existing either citations or resources. We're going to be offering. We don't. This probably won't be the final UX or the UI of this, but you'll be able to actually click something that allows you to do a little bit more fact checking when it creates that content. So it may not be relevant for all sorts of generations, but for the particular example you mentioned of looking up a band, I think it's going to do much better. And when we roll this out, yeah, I'd love to get your feedback. I can let you all know when it's ready. It'll probably be another couple weeks.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. There was another question about animation inside slides, like you can do with slides on the PowerPoint.
Mm-hmm.
Can you elaborate about that? Do you plan? What are the capabilities today?
Yeah, so today you'll see in the page setup, there's this very basic animations toggle. When I toggle this off, you'll notice like when I go present now, you just get kind of these static, card by card transitions. When I turn this on, then when I hit present, you get this, a little bit of a little subtle animation
they
that
were
comes
talking
in.
about animation that you can control. For
Yeah.
example, when you're creating a slide, you can start with the sentence and add more and more sentences to the slide. And today I didn't find a way to do that.
No.
Gamma.
Yeah, we don't offer that yet. Animations is an area what we plan to explore in the future. What we allow you to do today without building any animations is what we call spotlight. If you go to the top here, when you're in present mode and you hit spotlight, you can now sort of click on any element to bring attention to it. So I'm just using my cursor. And obviously I didn't have to make any of these animations, but you can then use that as a way to unveil more information. So if you're teaching sushi, you might go step 1, step 2.
But this is
step
only
3.
if you're presenting from Gamma.
Yes, presenting from Gamma. Yeah. So you can't yet export any of that capability to PowerPoint, but that's kind of all we offer today, and hopefully we can offer more in the future.
Okay.
Where this option?
So when you hit present from Gamma, and you hit in the top center here, there's a spotlight button. You can also just click S on your keyboard. You click S. Now everything is you can navigate by using either your arrow keys or using your mouse and clicking on a block.
Oh, this is great to know. I didn't know that.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Yep.
Someone is asking maybe a coupon for Pro.
What was that?
Maybe a coupon for Pro.
Oh. Yeah. I can. We could. We don't yet offer many discounts for our ambassadors. We do offer a discount code, so maybe I could share that with you all.
I told you we're Israelis, so we ask everything. So
that's a fair question.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Go on, Rebecca.
Okay, yes, my name is Rebecca. It's just in Hebrew. But I wanted to say that I really love your product, and I'm actually using it since April 23, so it's like 1 year.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and because I'm teaching at university, and I wanted my students to use AI to present their work, and you were the first one that popped up. Actually, with Tommy was the second one. We had Gamma and Tommy. And I think it's a really amazing tool. And it's, for me, I see that it's doing like 70% of the job also for the students. And lately, like 1 week ago, I created the first website using your software. And it was quite amazing. Like I could do it I think it took me like 2 hours. and I just published it. And now I'm just thinking if I'm buying a domain or not, because you also post it somehow. So it's quite amazing. And I'm really happy that Zohar organized this session so we can hear also from you how you built it and what's your vision. It's very, very inspiring. And I just wanted to encourage you to, to continue.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that means a lot. I feel like, our team definitely gains a lot of energy by getting, feedback, both good and bad, because we want to make the product better. So really appreciate it. And yeah, if there's anything I could do to help you or your students, just let me know. Yeah,
Rebecca is very modest. She was the head of marketing at Google Israel. She's deep in the digital world. She knows a lot of people, and it's a good thing that she thinks about you, and your platform, good things. So
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Other questions? No? Okay. So we finished earlier.
I have one little question. You know what? The website, then there was this picture that was generated by AI. I just wanted to do it very fast, so I did everything like generated by AI. And there was one picture that was like long like that, vertical.
Mm-hmm.
And then I didn't like it, so I wanted to change it with a picture I have on my computer. But then it put it just in the middle, and it didn't fit the size. And each time I put a picture, it is distorted. So I had to keep the the default that you gave me because I just wanted to finish it. But how can you fix that? It's like a huge problem. The picture is getting distorted.
Interesting. Yeah, and that might be a bug. If you're able to share examples with me later, that would be helpful. Basically, you should be able to, obviously replace this image. If it sounds like maybe it also changed the positioning, but when you go to card styling up here, you can, change
on the website version, not on the PowerPoint. On the presentation, I don't have any problem.
Oh, okay, interesting.
On the beta of the sites, yeah.
Got it. And you were saying basically you're trying to change maybe like the background image or something?
So yes, so first I couldn't change the background image at all. But then what I was mentioning is there was one at the beginning of the page, there was a design of a vertical picture.
Yeah.
And I didn't like it. So when I changed it, it put it in the middle, and then it was blank up on the top and blank on the bottom.
That was probably a bug then. Yeah. If you're able to send me a link, I'd love to look into it. I'm not sure what made it happen.
Or by Zohar or by directly.
So always you can use me as a channel for Gamma community, and I can ask questions on your behalf. I do that a lot. But also I will share Grant email. He was so generous and offered that. So you can ask him also. And always, Grant is following the questions and maybe not answering himself, but creating a contact with other people at Gamma so they can help.
Yeah. Sometimes when you create the presentation, so a map is created. And the map doesn't suit exactly the area. So we try to fix it. And the maps they're never correct enough. So maybe there's also something you can develop about that.
Yeah. So sorry, what was it? Was it a map or a math?
Yeah, a map. A map of in the presentation. So if the content is right, it would create a map of an area. And the map usually doesn't fit. So when we try to correct it and make a better map, it never works good. So,
okay.
Yeah, maybe this is something you can work on.
Yeah, if you could email me an example, I'd love to take a look. It'll be easier if I can try to figure out what exactly the desired output is, and we can see if we can improve on that.
Yeah, but just a small tip. When you want to create a card or a slide with a map, I think that you should bring your own map from home. Try to bring something very accurate because this is a very specific visual content, and maybe not relay on the platform and just edit the picture and bring the accurate image. This is something that I would do.
Yeah, that's what I do. I just thought that if the presentation offers a map and it doesn't work well, and I know you're so dedicated to improving, so it was like a tip. Just if you want to, I upload my own map because.
Also, you don't have always to upload the map or any image. You can choose. You click twice on the image, and then there's a bar that opens with all sorts of ways to edit images, and you can go through the web and search for a map and bring it to the slide. No?
Yeah, that's what I meant. That's what I meant. I also do that. Yeah. Upload it. I meant I go to Google, I create a map, and I add it.
Yeah, you don't have even to go to Google. You can search on the web inside Gamma. So instead of going out to the web and bringing the image, you can search for the image directly inside Gamma.
Yeah, I tried. I don't know. With maps, it didn't work so well for me. Maybe, maybe I didn't try.
Just showing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. If you want to, maybe it sounds like it just still wasn't producing good results, but
yeah,
helpful to know. Great. Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate you having me on here, Zahar.
Yeah, great having you here. It was fantastic, and I learned a lot. So I hope that my community learned a lot also. And anyway, it's recorded, so I will upload it. And the people that couldn't come today, because we are in a very strange time in Israel, you should know this is not the best time to create those events, but still there are some brave people that came today, and thank you very much for that.
Great. And I just put in the chat my LinkedIn if anybody is on LinkedIn and wants to connect there as well. Email or LinkedIn are both great.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye.